Hey, 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 what's up, everybody? This is Real Time with Prince Blue. Today is August it's not August. What the hell am I talking about? It's October the 11th, 2020. And welcome back for another episode of Real Time with Prince Blue. I guess y'all already know I'm pissed off. Like the Eagles. And it's a good show for the Eagles to piss me off because they're part of my anxiety and everything else we're going to talk about when we get into mental health issues on a serious note. But before we get into all that, Philadelphia Eagles, you motherfuckers. Like, why? 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 Why can't I be happy? Why? Why? Let me reverse that. Why can't I be happy about you? I'm happy about everything. I'm already about to blow my damn lid. Key! What up? Key's in here. I don't think she's ever been in here. Well, thank you, Key. Real Mama Eagle up in here. Um, this is not on the offense. No, 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 no. This loss not on offense. I'm good, Real Mama Eagle. How are you? Thank you for joining in. You about to see me go off. And it's gonna be more than 140 characters on Twitter. Jim Schwartz. For y'all who know, Jim Schwartz is the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's personally, if I can put somebody in a rocket and shoot them to the other fucking side of the sun, it would be him, it would be Nate Gary, and it'd be vegetables. I shoot all them shits to the sun at the same damn time. What the hell was that today? Like, what is it? That wasn't defense. It wasn't like Antonio Brown was out there with the Steelers. It wasn't Hines Ward. It wasn't Jerome Bettis in his prime. It was Big Ray Roethlisberger and the crew. You couldn't stop the crew? I'm ever since the Super Bowl 2017, when for the most important game in Jim Schwartz's career, he decided to let Tom Brady throw for 3 fucking miles. This defense has been mediocre at best. But you know what? It's not Jim Schwartz's problem. It's not his fault. You know whose fucking fault it is? Brandon Graham. God bless him. He came a long way to redeem himself for the Earl Thomas pick. For full disclosure, I still think it was the wrong pick at the time, but over time, he's proven that it was the right pick for what we needed to accomplish that we've never done in Philadelphia, and that's win a Super Bowl. But if it wasn't for his strip sack, Jim Schwartz would have been gone. He gave up 832,432.6 yards to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. He decided that in the Super Bowl, I was going to give the greatest quarterback of all time easy completions. Maybe he'll mess up when he get to the red zone. It's Tom Brady, you moron. But he's the smartest person in the room. The whole Eagles organization is full of smartest people in the room. Howie Roseman, uh, Jim Schwartz, um, Doug Peterson at times. Always they trying to one up each other. Just win the goddamn game, fellas. Just win. Do the simple stuff. All week, all day, I got to see rookies from everywhere else killing the damn NFL. What do we get? We get Hightower, who instead of catching the ball, run for the first down, he runs backwards. He didn't even run out of bounds. Okay, he wastes the fucking timeout. Then what happens? We get a deep pass where we can get 3 points, but J Null catches it surprisingly, and proceeds to celebrate, even though he needed to spike the ball. Now, he wouldn't have made it in time. I get it. But the fact that he got up and celebrated shows you the collective IQ and mental fortitude of these Eagles. I said it before. This Eagles team is very unlikable. The young guns, I like them, like the Ward, Fogle. Shout out to Fogle, man. Walk on the Old Dominion, came in and just did his thing, man. He's a true story of keep grinding. All you need is a shot. And lucky for him, we got a stupid motherfucker as a GM when it comes to talent that don't know how to draft. And we got we're the link is on an Indian burial ground, so everybody gets hurt. So Travis Fulgham, who was on the Lions practice squad, had a chance, came in, and is doing everything with that chance. That's the type of person you're supposed to cheer in Philadelphia. A person that actually has talent, not because he's sweating. I would sweat if I played football. That don't mean I'm a good player. That don't mean I work hard. That just means I'm out of shape. That don't mean I'm supposed to be an NFL player. Like, what the hell? We cheering for simple shit. It's like when a man, like Chris Rock said, it's like when a man takes credit for taking care of his kids. You supposed to, you stupid motherfucker. Ain't nothing different. Take care of your kids. I mean, what do you want? Kudos? You either take care of your kids or the man gets in your business and make you take care of them. Jim Schwartz, do something, man. Like, you got to help me out here. You got to help me out here. Like, this is, well, last Sunday we won. But out of the 4 Sundays I have done this show, 3 times I came on pissed off. Why? Because the Eagles do it every single time. Like, shout out to my mother-in-law. She's a huge Steelers fan. Congratulations, Mimi. I can't even get mad at her. I love her. She's good. But she's I know she's on cloud now, but she knows her son-in-law. She didn't call me and brag and boast. She just won in peace. Thank you. And thank you, Philadelphia Eagles. Because of you, I have to have the terrible towel in my Abby and Steelers Fury podcast emblem on my damn Twitter for a whole week. Love football, girl. It is amazing how players thrive outside Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz's system is not friendly to anybody other than the defensive line. And hell, it's not even consistent enough for them. Shout out to Papa Whitelow. He the one told me Fletcher Cox was the last one to get over 10 sacks in his defense. He's a defensive tackle. This is supposed to be tailor-made. The wide nine is supposed to be tailor-made for the defensive ends. Right now, it's tailor-made to get on my fucking nerves. That's what it's tailor-made for. That's what it's tailor-made for, to get on my nerves. I can't take it, y'all. I'm like, oh, man. Anyway, it's been an interesting week. For y'all don't know, Blue Manor will be up Wednesday. Wednesday's the closing date. As you can see, I got nothing except nothing in the background because everything's been packed up. I told them, don't do anything. Don't take Bob Ross. Bob Ross always stays. He's my spiritual animal, Bob Ross, but he stays with me. But closing day is Wednesday. Everything's packed up. And, we met with the CPI guy and all that good stuff. Can't wait, man. Iron Apache asked me, does Blue Manor come with I can't say that word. Impenetrable? How you say that? Oh, whatever. Does it come with what? Locked Wi-Fi? Now, see, I don't know if I'm coming through stagnant or anything to y'all. Let me know if my Wi-Fi is jacked up to y'all. If it is, I can't help it. Just stay strong, please, because I'm way up in the back room, and the way this thing was built, it's like a bunker up here. All right, my man Joe Ruin said I'm good. My quote-unquote stalker, because let me, y'all know on this show, people always say what they say. They say don't give people energy, because if you give them energy, you know what? I'm a pivot. I'm a pivot. Love Football Girl just asked me about the furniture. That's what I wanted to talk about. Ashley Homeroom Furniture, whatever the hell your damn name is. We went and paid for our furniture in August. We didn't put it on layaway. We didn't say, oh, I don't know. We paid. So when you pay, I'm thinking we gonna get our shit on time. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. They call a week before. Hey, yeah, this is Bob from Home Furniture. How you doing? First of all, don't ask me how I'm doing. You got to give me some dumbass news. I'd rather you just be like, yo, what's up? You ain't getting your shit on time. Just do that. Don't ask me how I'm doing, because you really don't give a shit. Anyway, so they're like, hey, you won't get your stuff until November, right before Thanksgiving. Okay, motherfuckers. How long did y'all know that we wasn't gonna get our furniture? I just roundabout guess. Because when we paid for it, y'all should have had it then. But what did you do? You screwed me and my family over. But I'm not gonna let that get into it, because we're still moving. Everything is still good. Um, the house is up. Everything is good. All we gotta do is just move in. So I'm good with that. And if we don't have a little bit of furniture, that's all right. It's all right. We got the most essential stuff. We got each other, and we got enough furniture to make it work. And hell, y'all know, come on, black people, even some of my white people, we can make stuff work. I mean, listen, long as it's a floor, four walls, you got somewhere to sleep. I mean, it is what it is, you know. But it's the principle of it. And then they hit us with the old, well, you can always cancel. Well, no shit. No shit we could cancel, but we ain't got enough time to pivot and get something on time. And then I tweeted you, and then somebody reached out to me, and they ain't reached back out since. So you know what? If you do any business with Ashley Home Furniture, don't. They stink. Their customer service stink. Their delivery stink. The person that drives the delivery truck stinks. The person in admin stinks. The only person that didn't stink was the person that took our money on time. Asshole. With that being said, I wanted to also address, let me see, this asshole on Twitter. What is his name? Mike Marasas, whatever his name is. So let me do this. Let me set this, right? I got a guy, Ruin Today, right here. My man Joe. One of the coolest fellas you'll get. I get him because he's sarcastic like me. He's quick. He's funny. He's on his feet. Well, we was talking football with somebody else, and then the dude came out of nowhere. Won't you go stroke Prince Blue? Because that's what you do. First of all, why is another grown man your concern? Like, why is it your concern who I'm cool with? Like, he was legit mad. It sounded like he had that in the holster. It was like if I would have been like, hey, bacon and eggs is my favorite sandwich. Fuck you. You always talking about Prince Blue. I'm like, damn, dude, like what? I am Prince Blue, and bacon is good on a sandwich. Why the fuck you mad at me? Then he went into this whole Yo, damn, do you ever not tweet? What do you have anything to do? Your family must get tired of you being in your phone all day. First of all, I'm gonna tell y'all again. See, this is the thing about social media. It allows people to say some of the most foul shit because they ain't gonna get checked. 9 out of 10 ain't gonna get checked because they from somewhere else. But let me tell you something. It's certain things I keep mental checks of. One is when the Eagles are playing. Two is when you say something about my fucking family. So I'm gonna tell y'all one more time. If you got a problem with me, have a problem with me. I could take it. I'm a big boy. You know, I'm trying to get smart. I'm a big boy. I could take it. But you start talking about my family, I keep those mental notes. Because see, what y'all don't realize is this pandemic ain't gonna last all the fucking time. And for the last time, when people ask me what do I do all day, nothing. Because I earned the right to retire at 38, so I don't have to do nothing. So you know what that means? I got all fucking day to be petty. All day to come up with ways to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? So guess what, Mike Marasas or whatever the fuck your name is, who decided to tweet a picture of a Kia Stinger like that shit is rare, like a Maserati. I don't give a fuck about your Kia Stinger. It's a Kia Stinger. My wife's Telluride shitted one of those last week. It's a Kia Stinger. He posted it like it was a goddamn, like it was a Maserati. Like him and Rick Ross was in line to get only two in the world, and he got the second one. It's a Kia Stinger, bitch. Then he proceeds to say it's a $50,000 automobile. Well, good for you. Okay. You look like you saved good money not shaving, not bathing. You look like you sell popsicles out of a briefcase. You look like your day is predicated on selling ice cream so kids can get to the popsicle sticks. Tough life. I ain't got to work another motherfucking day in my life. Ever. Ain't that right, Bob? See, Bob's talking to me. Yo, Bob told me don't even give me your energy, but Bob, I have to. This what I do, Bob. It's called RealTime Principle Podcast for the Petty, Bob. Bob said he understands. So, do not talk about my kids. Do not talk about my wife. I'm telling you, I will end you. Like, don't. Like, I got time. I got all day to come up with weird shit. Like, oh man, like, oh yeah. And then you see, this is the thing. This is what's great about being me and being who I am. I don't have to pretend to be anybody, and people like me, and people naturally want to see me succeed, right? So when the guy comes at me, I start getting messages of girls who says he was in my DMs being a creep. So I said, hey, listen, it's levels to this shit, guy. Don't come for me. I'm telling you. By the way, stay out of women's DMs because it's not a good look. Then he proceeds to tweet, show me the DMs where I'm being creepy. And then guess what somebody did? Guess what somebody did? They showed me they showed me what you tweeted. I'm not gonna say the girl's name, but this what you said. You're killing your workouts. You look great. She said, thank you. You said we should go out together sometime. 0 to 100. 0 to 100. Hi, how you doing? Hey, want to see my dick? That's what you said. You might as well. Damn. Good morning. Hey, you want to go out sometime? God, yo, let me drink my coffee. Let me finish. We should go out together sometime. And then the Vanilla Queen held it down. She said, I have a boyfriend, but I'm down to meet some new friends. Here he go. Yeah, absolutely. We're Philly sports fans, so we would make good friends. I think. LOL. You pathetic bastard. You so damn pathetic. Pathetic. Hell yeah. He shot from half court, dust ball 1986. He shot from half court. It missed. Welcome, Danny Green, you dumbass. On what planet, when you say hi, do you follow up with, we should go out together sometimes? This ain't Saved by the Bell. And first of all, ain't more than one person fitting in no damn Kia Stinger. What, you gonna take the seats out? I don't know. I guess you wasn't impressed with your Kia Stinger. Anytime you gotta say the price of your car, you know it's shitty. Because the other person thinking the same thing. Like, damn, yo. But man, this is an $80,000 automobile. It's still shitty. I'm telling you, man, there's levels to this. I got more screenshots too. Dude, like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, I got all day. I'm retired. I could be a professional troll for hire. I don't know. I could make up any damn thing. I'm not dependent on a paycheck. That's the worst thing that could have happened to me. Because now I can say whatever the hell I want. I ain't got to worry about that. I'm a call the police department and tell them you out here saying awful things to people and you supposed to protect the community. Nah, not no more. Nah. All I got to worry about is protecting my family 100%, 24/7. There ain't no shackles on me. There ain't no chains on me. Telling y'all, don't listen. Yeah. Don't. Okay? Don't do it. Just don't do it. He done blocked my girl Terry, my sis Terry. He blocked her. Dude just, but you know what? He reminds me of, y'all know those movies where the guy comes home from a rough day at work, he got the briefcase, you don't know what he's selling. He probably sell like loose leaf paper to schools where they could buy it in bulk at Staples. He like that type of salesman. He sells shit that you could buy somewhere easier, and now he's struggling. He's struggling. He like, hey, listen, Charlotte school system, I got loose leaf paper. I got loose leaf paper that I want to sell you. And the school system, like, we buy our paper in bulk from a supplier. Why would we need to buy loose leaf paper from you? Brent says he makes $50K a year as a personal banker, and his car is $50,000. So you in the red or something, personal banker. First of all, what personal banker buys a $50,000 Kia Stinger? Yeah. My man, my God. My man, listen, and my homegirls, listen. I told y'all, don't do this. I got people saying, listen, he a loser. He loaned his money. He lives in a $164,000 townhouse with a Kia Stinger. Listen. Oh man, don't come for me, yo. Don't come for me. Like, stay in your lane. Like, do what you do. Like, don't worry about who likes me, who don't like me. You sound like a nagging ass housewife. Like, you worried about what another grown man does. Like, don't do that, yo. Well, now that that's out the way, let's get into the annual LeBron James versus Michael Jordan GOAT debate. Ding, 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 a ding, 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 ding. And why did we bring this up? Because LeBron James is getting scolded for doing what he was supposed to do. Now, hear me out. I'm going to give LeBron some slack. That was absolutely the right basketball play. You had three people shit. You even had the ghost of The ghost of Dr. Bust defending you too on that play. So you pass to a wide open Danny Green and he clanks it. Absolutely the right basketball play. But Danny Green didn't make it. And that means you got to play another game. A game that Michael Jordan makes sure he never go past. See, this is the thing. When you in the conversation with the greatest of all time, when you in the conversation with the greatest of all times, you get graded on great shit. I mean, I don't make the rules. I don't make them. Like Lyle. Where's Lyle at? He's the #1 LeBron James fanboy. 3-9 in finals appearances. And you the GOAT. Versus a man that's 6-0, 6 finals MVPs. Oh, yeah, by the way, tops in points, assists, defensive categories, everything else. The ultimate assassin, ultimate winner, sociopath on the way he went about his business on the court. Michael Jordan would take it personal if you say good morning too slow to him. Come out and put 40 on you. That's who we putting in the conversation with LeBron. Be honored that you're in that conversation. But if you're the GOAT, no. And no, for the people at home, no, it's not all about rings, because then Robert Horry will be the GOAT, Bill Russell will be the GOAT. It's with context. And Michael Jordan he's probably the only player that the other top 5 that people put in the category, they all say no, it's that guy. So what are we arguing about? I'm just a fat diabetic guy trying to live. I ain't played the game. But you got people that played the game at the highest level who said, hey, look at that guy. No, MJ's the guy. I appreciate you putting me in the top 5, but MJ's the guy. I don't know what to tell you, LeBron James people. In quiet as kept, listen, people even got an argument about Bean. Rest in peace, Bean. Like, are you even better than Kobe? I didn't say LeBron wasn't top 5 Papa Whitelow. I didn't say he wasn't top 5. I just said he's not the GOAT. Bah! He's not that. He's not. Bah! That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now, before my next guest comes on, I want to set this up proper by yesterday was Mental Awareness Day, I believe, or Mental Health Day or something like that. So that made me pivot and made me think about people that are going through things out there, people that may be struggling with some issues. And then I had a young lady on my Twitter that said, why don't anybody ever talk about anxiety? The anxiety that's so bad, you think everybody is against you. Nobody wants you around. The things that make you want to cry all day. And that hit me hard because that's just one person that's out there and think that nobody cares about what she's going through or nobody talks about what she's going through. So that made me pivot, and I wanted to spend a good bulk of my show talking about mental health and how to cope with it and how to get it diagnosed, like all the things that go with it. So, I figured, I'll bring somebody on that can talk about it and shed some light on it and answer some questions that any of you may have. To my Yes, I sent the link to your email if you're listening. I sent it to your email. So I was looking for a guest to come on, somebody, a therapist, somebody that could talk and answer questions. And newsflash, hello, you're married to one. Ding 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 ding. Ding a ding 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 ding. Yes. The guest that's coming on will be my lovely and smart, intelligent, all the attributes that you can apply to a woman. Good attributes, by the way. My my half, my good half, my better half, my wife Tyeekia Blue, who's also a licensed clinical social worker, and she's also a mogul. She opened her own business this year. It's called Essential Wellness Counseling. Um, she has been a licensed clinical social worker for a long time. Let me read you her bio. Um, she is a dually licensed psychotherapist based in the greater Charlotte area, here to guide you through life's most complex and difficult matters. Since 2009, she has provided a number of specialized therapeutic services to those dealing with challenging life experiences. Her clients' well-being is her number one priority. And I can say that she's very good at what she does. She specializes in working with adults and children who may be suffering from trauma, depression, or anxiety. Her therapist style is a blend of motivational interviewing with a holistic twist. She's worked with unique populations throughout her career. She specializes in addiction, dual diagnosis, domestic violence, family conflict, grief, relationship, stress, life transitions, and working with individuals with special needs. As a therapist, she has worked to develop tailored treatment plans to the best of her clients' needs. And she is very good. And she's also a vegetarian. Yes, Ruin. She's a vegetarian and we could trust her. Can't trust nobody that don't. Come on, man. Chick-fil-A, Popeyes. Come on, man. Um, but yeah, so we're going to talk about um mental health and we're going to get into it and it'll probably get uncomfortable, but please, if you have anything to share or you have any questions for my wife, please don't be scared to post them. If you want to join in and ask a question, please let me know. I'll post the link and y'all can come in and y'all can ask questions and my wife will answer it. It's open, y'all, and she's in the lobby, and I'm gonna make her wait a little more because this is my show and I got the power. So I'm gonna make her wait a couple more seconds. Okay, I'm gonna bring her in because I don't want no static. So everybody, welcome Tyeekia Blue, my wife. Where is she? There she is. Hello, hello, beautiful. How are you?
I'm good.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's wrong?
I'm hearing double though.
You hearing double?
Yeah, I'm good.
Uh
Hold on,
oh.
let me figure
Uh
this
oh.
out.
All right, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
while you figure it out, won't you tell everybody what made you get into mental health and being a therapist?
Why am I hearing double?
I don't know, but I just asked you a question. Did you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's
But
still
you're hearing
double.
double. I wonder if you're hearing double.
Okay, take me out and I'm gonna come back in, okay?
Okay. All right. See, we got technical difficulties. See there? Can't see. So, Ruin. Guess what? We can't trust the therapist. Can't trust the no, not a therapist. We can't trust the vegetarian. Oh yeah, there you go. See, Karate Mark with the clutch. If you hear me, honey, he says to turn off your mic while I'm talking, and then turn it back on when when I ask you a question. I guess that'll work. But while she's getting that fixed, mental health is something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of people do not necessarily know how to get help or how to cope with it. And I think it's very important that we monitor our mental health as much as we want to be like we spend all this money on our physical well-being. We go to gyms, we get we get personal trainers, we work out, we eat good, we take medicine, we do all this stuff. But when it comes to mental health, we just we just freeze up when it comes to getting help about it. Okay, we're gonna add her back in. All right, do you hear
Okay.
double now?
No, I don't. That was my fault.
Okay.
Sorry. I was clicked
Okay.
on two different
It's always
browsers.
your fault. It's always the woman's fault.
Okay.
Um, so honey, again, tell everybody what made you get into therapy.
Hmm. So the reason I decided to become a therapist myself was because um, I went to therapy. Not something that I commonly share with everybody, but when I first seen a therapist, I was in grad school for the first time. And all of a sudden, I noticed that I couldn't get out of bed. I had no motivation to do anything. I was sad all the time. I was crying. It was just a lot going on. And I couldn't quite understand why. I was, typically very motivated, loved doing a lot of things, but I was just so sad to the point that I didn't care about anything. And so I couldn't, shake it off. So I went to a therapist for the first time in grad school, and she told me something that, kind of brought me pause. She said that, you've been through so much in your life that you have took everything that you went through and just kind of like shoved it in the closet. And I had did that for so long to the point that the closet door just kind of broke open and everything just kind of hit me all at once and I just couldn't do anything. So that was kind of the reason that shifted me from going to school to be a pastor. Some of you probably don't know that, but some of you do. Um, from going to school to become a pastor to becoming a therapist because it really helped me. It really helped me so much. And she really helped break a lot of things down to me. So that was kind of the reason I started the whole path to mental health.
Okay. So all right. And then you've had excellent practice because you've been with me since 2012. So you've been you've had your chances. And then for full disclosure, you always sometimes I have to tell you to turn it off sometimes because you I'll be trying to wonder if I'm getting Tyeekia the wife or Tyeekia the therapist. And sometimes it's hard to separate it. So when we're talking about mental health and getting help, what are some of the signs you think that uh when people see it or they feel it, um what are some of the signs that something that you it may be something wrong out of your control?
Right. So, like I described, for me personally, it was just a sudden change in, your daily routine, sudden change in your mood. So, for example, if you're typically a go-getter, you're a person that, really likes to, go do things, and all of a sudden you just want to lay in bed. Yeah, every day somebody may just want to lay in bed and be lazy, but this is to the point that you just feel like you can't do anything. Some people may not brush their teeth, they may not take a shower, they just a drastic change in their mood and their daily activities. Another thing that a person may notice is that kind of like sometimes a lack of sympathy, a lack of emotion, just sudden, maybe becoming angry, for no apparent reason. It could be like crying spells. It could be a heightened sense of paranoia. It just depends on which mental illness is presenting itself. But a way to tell usually is just, the first thing a person would generally notice is just a change in their activity or the things that they like to do no longer interest them anymore.
Okay. That's that's why I like that the fact that my show with my show is, everybody knows Real Time Prince Blue, because I'm real, I'm fully transparent, and I've always been transparent to people that follow me on social media about my own bouts with mental health issues. Like, I told everybody that I was diagnosed as major depressive way back in 2007. Like, I would want to be in a room. I would stay in a room for days. I wouldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't talk with people. Like, I'll totally shut myself off. I'll always be upset. Um, I would go through these spells where I would just be on some pretty destructive like behavior in my own right. Like, it could be severe shopping. It could be severe, like, just out there just doing any and everything to fill any void in which I had. And I knew something was wrong because it's just not normal. And people around me knew something was wrong because they knew, well, when Blue is at work, he's engaging, he's funny, like, we can't get him to shut up, blah, blah, blah. But then the next day, he'll be like, like, I don't feel like talking to anybody, or he'll shut himself off for 4 or 5 days at a time, sometimes more. And I just knew I had to go get help. Now, fortunately, I was in the military, so I can just go get help and just talk to somebody. But people that's going through it now, they're either first thinking financially, they're thinking that people are going to say they're soft, nothing wrong with them. Black people, we're notorious for praying away, all types of other things that, you may be going through something, but you need an outside voice. So what are some of the barriers that you're seeing when it comes to people seeking help,
Yeah.
when they have any type of mental health issue?
Right. I think you said it, a lot of it. Especially in the Black community, there's a stigma that, if you go to a therapist or if you take medications for a mental illness, you're just crazy. And, sometimes I've heard people say, those medications, that's a mental illness is a white people thing, when that's not the case. Mental illness affects everybody, white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. It affects every race. So that's the biggest barrier, is that people are afraid that they're going to be judged, that people are going to think that they can't hold down a job, they can't be alone with their kids, they can't do a lot of things when that's not the case. So the biggest barrier is that the stigma of mental health. And then the next thing is a person who may be very religious, or come from a religious upbringing, or raised in the church, or whatever the case is. A lot of times the people will say that if there's a mental illness present, is due to there being like a demonic spirit, or all kinds of things like that. It's that people have been taught to just pray it away, when that's not the case. So that's when you get a lot of times when people are trying to learn how to cope and deal with their mental health on their own. That's when people start smoking weed. A lot of people start smoking weed a lot of times because they're trying to balance out their mood. There's a such thing as mood stabilizers. That's the medication that works. But people try to balance out their mood by, smoking weed to kind of calm them down. You hear that a lot. Like, I need to be calm, so I'm gonna smoke weed. And then, as you know, I'm trying not to be on a soapbox here. Weed is a gateway drug, and most of the time it never stops there. So you're smoking weed, you're drinking alcohol. Alcohol makes you tend to forget a lot of things when you're drinking alcohol. You can be fun, you can be your true self a lot of the times, but that's another way of coping and dealing with the mental illness, like past trauma and things like that. And then, as you know, like, it goes from that to popping pills to snorting coke to you name it, it happens. So that's what happens with a lot of people. They start treating their own mental illness with substance abuse. Um, and so that's another like stigma that you can just drink it away or whatever the case is. And then a huge thing is like the cost. So of course, seeing a therapist costs money. So a lot of people sometimes are turned away just because they feel like it's not accessible to them, or they may not have transportation to get there, or they may not be able to find a therapist that looks like them. And I never take offense to anyone who feels like they want to see a therapist that's their same race, their same gender, or whatever the case is. So you want to find someone that you feel comfortable with. So that's another huge thing as far as a barrier. I mean, we can kind of go through a whole lot of barriers, but those are, I think, the top ones that I see.
Now, since you and I have been together,
Hmm.
I've been to several therapists. Like I'm
Hmm.
seeing therapists now, for my mental illnesses, and you you try to go through things and you try to rationalize it, but sometimes you just can't do it on your own, and you need
Hmm.
to go for help. And sometimes, if you go without help for a long time, other things manifest itself as well. And sometimes when you could go long without, you may have a diagnosis you may not know.
Hmm.
So let's talk about, for full disclosure. So I've been having issues with my major depression for a long time, as you already know. And there's also been other times to where, let's say for instance, um, I'm coming to you. I'm like, hey, baby, I want to be a sports agent. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in these classes and stuff like that. I get you really excited, pumped up about it. You'll look up stuff. And then the next day you'll come to me and you'll be like, hey, I was looking at these classes. You should do this, you do that. And then I'm looking at you like, I don't want to do that. That's stupid. Like, nobody wants to do that. And then you're like, you literally last night you told me you wanted to change the NFL. Now you're like, I don't want to do that. That's stupid.
Hmm.
And then there were times where, we're about to move into a brand new house. We got everything. We're blessed. I'm retired. I don't have to work another day in my life. If Lord forbid anything was to happen to me, y'all are taken care of for the rest of y'all lives. And you couldn't understand why still I was not happy. One day I'll
Hmm.
be happy, then the next day I won't be happy. One day I'll be happy, then the next day I won't be happy. So, I go to the VA for counseling or whatever, and I talk to multiple therapists, and then they do all types of tests and all that stuff. And just recently, I talked to my psychiatrist, who, she checks up on me, and she's like, "Hey, how's your medicine working? How's it doing for you?" And I would tell her, "Hey, well, I'm really irritable. I'm snapping on people. I'm yelling at people. I have so much energy. Some days I just want to be in the bed." And that's when she came back to me and she was like, uh she looked at my chart and she saw that back when I back when I was coming out of the military, I had to take this test where you take this test. And then I remember the results. They said, hey, the results are so uneven and unbalanced, like there's something else there. But of course, I was on my way out. So I didn't, I was like, whatever. So I went through all this time. So fast forward, I'm talking to my therapist, my psychiatrist, and then she brought it up to me. She was like, hey, she was like, there's a very good possibility that you're bipolar too. And then she hit me with that, and I looked at you and I was like, I came and immediately told you, and you was like, I mean, pretty much, he was like, honey, I mean, I saw the signs myself, but I have to balance that. So I had to hear it from three other people. So yes, just recently I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, and that rocked me. More meds, more medicine. Then immediately, the side where you don't know, you just hear bipolar and you already think, oh my God, am I going to jump off a bridge? Oh my God, am I going to run into traffic?
Hmm.
But I had to get clarification of, there's two different, there's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2. can you break down what's the difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I know that had to be tough to talk about because, again,
Yeah,
there's
my
that
heart is
stigma.
beating fast.
There's that stigma that, oh my God, he has bipolar too. He must be real crazy. You guys have heard and seen Prince, over the last couple months. He's the same Prince that you know and love. So it doesn't make him any different, doesn't make him any less of a man, doesn't make him any less of a father. It just means that now we know how to cope and deal with, when there are different phases of the bipolar disorder. So bipolar 1 is the one that most people are familiar with. So it's the one that has the clear cut, well, most of the time, clear cut distinction between the manic phase and the depressive phase. So the manic phase is, that phase where you have these grandiose ideas, you can conquer the world. It may be like shopping sprees involved. There may be a person who could care less about consequences of, the law, their loved ones. There's, it's just a, a huge difference. Like they could stay up all night without sleep. They're just what people would describe. Sometimes it's hyper, but it's called manic. So usually during this time, it usually the manic phase sometimes can last at least a week or longer. And sometimes the moods are very elevated. And sometimes that person's thoughts are racing like really fast. And then sometimes, they may just feel the pressure to keep talking. So they may talk really fast if they're in that manic phase. And they usually believe that they can do anything. And sometimes it works out in their favor where they can do anything more than, a person who, needs more sleep would be able to do. And so then that's where you get sometimes if a person isn't diagnosed, they may start using substances to kind of cope and deal with that manic phase. But then on the flip side of that with bipolar 1 is, they may go into these depressive phases where, they may become very suicidal. Not meaning that they're acting on it, but they may have a lot of suicidal ideations, like thoughts of suicide that just keep going through their mind over and over and over again. There may not be anything that triggered them. It doesn't have anything to do with like a traumatic event that had just happened. It just the depressive phase just happens in bipolar 1 disorder like that. And it definitely is treated well with medications. Medications is needed with bipolar 1 disorder. They most of the time need a mood stabilizer and another medication to go along with that. So that's bipolar 1 disorder. Bipolar 2 is what you described, Prince, and where you don't typically have like a week long or longer phases of a manic phase. It may come where, like you described, you can conquer the world in a day. You sometimes may have like some grandiose ideas. And then, all of a sudden, you kind of just don't feel like doing any of it. But the big distinction is that with bipolar 1, there's a longer phase of manic in most cases. Of course, there's no textbook answer where all of it looks the same, but that's what bipolar 1 and 2 looks like.
Yeah, and when I was going through mine, like, when I go through mine, it's like everybody knows, I love like sneakers, I love clothes, I love video games, and like I would just I would process it in my own way to where like some people cope with drugs, some people cope with uh uh bad sexual behavior. Some people will cope with different types of things. Like my mother-in-law said, the guitar phase. It was a phase where I legit thought I was going to be Prince. Like I was going to be Prince the singer. Like my wife was like I get into these things I look up stuff. Like she'll tell you, I watch guitar players for like 3 weeks on YouTube. I watched the same video over and over and over and over and over. Then I went to the guitar center, bought me a guitar, and I played it for like 2 days, and then I put it up. That's some of the stuff that you know, and the way now remind you, I've been going through this as a police officer. So you gotta add all that extra whatever I go through there. And that was part of the issue that people, they couldn't quite understand, because y'all know me. I make jokes, I troll, I laugh, you know. But then y'all see me, y'all be like, damn, Blue fired off like 50 tweets in like an hour. Like, that's I'm going through my phase. I got stuff that's here, and I gotta release it. I gotta find a way to work through it. And that's one of my coping mechanisms, is getting it out. Um, so when you go through things like myself and others, it's a good thing to have a support system, which I have. And it was hard. Like, still, like, most of my family, they just found out that I was recently diagnosed with bipolar 2. Um, because there's a stigma with it. You don't want people to be like, he ain't gonna hold my kids, or I don't know, I don't trust him. Like, don't let him drive my car. Like, no, it's not like that. I take medicines. I do what I need to do. Um, like Love Football Girl said yesterday, I was stuck on Over the Top. Like, I couldn't, like, I was just over the top all day. The movie, over the top, over the top. Those are times when I'm going through that, but it's just so weird, and it's kind of funny. Like, my wife is laughing, like, but I work my issues out through other means. It's just weird, like over the top movie quotes, or hey honey, I'm gonna be a guitar player, I'm gonna take us out of this world. Like, I'm gonna make a living being a guitar player. And my wife's like, okay honey, yeah. But you know what, that's how I work through things. And luckily I don't have any dangerous behaviors, but that's part of some of the things that goes on with mental illness and with people trying to cope. Now, I do want to ask you about the dangerous side to not getting the proper help and the
Mhm.
proper diagnosis,
Mhm.
or even if you have a diagnosis at all, because most of it is trust. Like, how do you know for sure that your diagnosis is set? I said, like, for me, it came from three
Mhm.
doctors and multiple tests.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's like, after a while, you're like, what you gonna do?
Mhm.
So how do you explain that to people when they think something may be wrong and they get a diagnosis they may agree with or they may not agree with it?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so that's true. So here's the thing. It depends on where you go. So if you're going, let's say for instance, a person, what we a lot of people like to say have a psychotic break, and they need to be hospitalized. And some people call it a psych ward, some people call it the crazy house, some people call it all types of things. So that's not what it's called. It's an inpatient mental health, hospital. So if a person needs to go to a place like that, they may see someone, a doctor there, while they're hospitalized for 7 days or whatever the case is. And that psychiatrist, therapist, or whatever the case is, may not know them really well, may not know what their past behaviors are. So they may just diagnose them based upon what they see right then and there. And so it's best to, establish a relationship with a psychologist, psychiatrist, or a therapist. Now, some people, of course, don't need all three. It just depends on what the diagnosis is. So,
I
if
agree.
you've been seeing, if you, a psych, so let me, the difference is, so a psychiatrist, they're a doctor of medicine. They prescribe medications. So when you see a psychiatrist, they're usually going to spend about 15, 20 minutes talking to you, sometimes longer. And then they're going to prescribe the medication. But they're always going to say you need to also see a therapist as well. So you'll see the therapist usually once a week, depending on your diagnosis. And then you'll see the psychiatrist usually every 4 to 6 weeks, again, depending on your diagnosis, so they can manage your medications. So it's usually good to have a team. But if you're dealing with something like generalized anxiety disorder, sometimes people don't tend to see a therapist and a psychiatrist in that case. They may just see a therapist and kind of work on some coping skills and things like that to kind of work through that. Not meaning they don't need medication, but it just depends. But if a person has something like depression, there's so many different phases and things that deal with depression that sometimes they may see a psychiatrist as well. Some people go to their primary care doctor to get a referral as well. So to answer your question, it's good to establish a good relationship with a clinician before you before you're diagnosed. Like that way they can kind of see the big picture. Usually they're going to do a formal assessment. Usually that assessment could last about 90 minutes. It could last longer. And that's how they'll generally diagnose you at that time.
And that's a good point because me personally, I have a team. I have a team. I have a therapist, I have a psychiatrist, I have you, and I have my PlayStation. Those are my
Yeah,
teams.
that's your team.
But like my man Ruin said, like yesterday I told you, and this brings up a good point. He said my anxiety has often kept me home because the
Hmm.
thoughts of different situations stress me out.
Hmm.
And like I told you yesterday, it was a young woman who said, why doesn't anybody ever talk about anxiety and the kind
Hmm.
of anxiety that makes you think everybody's against you and you're never
Hmm.
good enough and nothing's ever good enough?
Hmm.
Um, that goes along with, not only is there a stigma in the mental health community, but there's always this, like people immediately told me, like some people was like, your bipolar don't sound as bad as the other bipolar. Like, you don't know that. You don't know that. Like, you
Right.
can't say, oh, anxiety, that's, if you can have anything, have anxiety. You don't
Hmm.
understand how debilitating
Hmm.
somebody's mental illness can be. So when you say stuff like, oh, you triggered, oh, you crazy, oh, this, oh, that, like, you got to be careful how you talk to people and how you address people. You may think you're trying to help, but you never
Hmm.
know. That person may really be feeling like this is the end.
Hmm.
And what you say to them may be the tip of the iceberg. Like,
Hmm.
if you don't know what to say, then don't say anything. Just say, I'm here for you. Do you need me to call anybody? If you need help, I can help you find somebody. Don't start saying, oh, you'll be fine. You'll be all right. You don't know that. So,
Hmm.
what do you say to those people that think what they're going through isn't to the level that they need help or it isn't as bad as other people's?
Yeah. Um, so unfortunately, a lot of people use the term bipolar all the time. They think
I
it's
hate
like,
that word now.
they're just like, oh, you're just bipolar, and that's not what it means. I know a lot of people have heard, about Kanye West. Of course, I can't diagnose him, not his therapist, not his psychiatrist, any of those things. But from my understanding, I think Kanye has said that he has bipolar disorder. And a lot of people like to say things like, "Oh, he must be off his meds because he's acting like this and he's acting like that." That could be the case, but you don't know that. So just because of how Kanye West presents with his bipolar disorder, as he described, doesn't mean that that's how Joe Blow is going to present either. Everybody presents differently. So it's not a good thing to throw those terms out there, such as bipolar, or you're just bipolar because you're crazy, or whatever the case is. And with anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, it is very debilitating. It's so debilitating sometimes people cannot, keep a job because they have this worry about things that's completely out of their control. Is The worry is excessive, it's persistent, and it's sometimes unreasonable. Um, like a person could be working somewhere and they're so afraid that somebody may think they're not doing a good job and they're going to get fired. Or with anxiety disorder, there's a lot of like physical symptoms that people have, such as like sweating. We get nervous sometimes. People sweat when they get nervous, but this is like a sweat that covers your whole body, covers your clothes. So if you're working and somebody says something to you that makes you a little nervous, or sorry, Kristen is distracting me. Then that may, that has to do with anxiety disorder. Also, anxiety disorder can cause, you may notice like the digestive symptoms with it. Like a lot of times, when people get nervous, they feel like they have the bubble guts or their stomach is in knots. But a person with generalized anxiety disorder feels that all the time. Like their stomach constantly feels like it's in knots. Or a person's heart may be beating constantly all the time. Just the thought of answering the phone, just the thought of, going to the grocery store, just the thought, they're not even physically doing it. Just the thought of, meeting a stranger, like they're sweating, their stomach is in knots, so bad to the point they can't leave their home. So those are some of the symptoms. And then you hear a lot of people like throw around the term, "Oh, I feel like I'm having an anxiety attack." An anxiety attack is real, so bad to the point people feel like they're having a heart attack. A lot of people present to the emergency room thinking they're having a heart attack when in reality it's anxiety. And it can get really bad. So if a person does feel like they're having some of those symptoms, it could be a good idea to start seeing a therapist just to kind of figure out what are some of the triggers, like what are some of the things that you may be feeling in regards to anxiety. This is where that's a huge one as well. And then depression. I hear a lot of people. I mean, it's common, like, oh, I just feel so depressed today, and that could be the case that you're just not feeling like yourself today. But true depression, like I think I described before, can't get out of bed, poor concentration, loss of joy and pleasure, fatigue. Like you may have slept all day, but still that's not enough sleep for that person. They may start to withdraw from their friends and family. They may start to like kind of throw arguments out there just so they don't have to be around people. They become very, very irritable, lack of motivation. So you may see a person that was a go-getter who don't want to do nothing at all. You may notice a change in their eating habits where they may lose a lot of weight or they may gain a lot of weight. Some people may use food to cope and deal with their depression, so bad to the point where they become morbidly, obese, or so bad to the point where, they're very fragile and, kind of like skins and bones. And then sometimes they have difficulty sleeping. It just depends on the depression. And with depression, medication management works well. Seeing a therapist also works in, finding coping strategies works as well.
We got a question from Love Football Girl. She always supports me. She said, "Can mental?" You kind of just talked about it, but can you expound on it some more for her? She said, "Can mental health problems, disorders cause physical pain?"
hmm Yeah, it can cause physical pain. Of course, it's a good idea to go to your doctor, first of all, to make sure it's not something else going on, like, something else with your body. But if all those things are eliminated, then yeah, a person, could just not feel well due to depression, or could, their body just feels like blah due to, depression or anxiety. So, but first of all, just always go to your doctor first to rule out, to make sure that there's nothing else going on. But yeah, mental illness can, cause physical symptoms so bad to the point that, again, most of the time people just don't feel like doing anything. They just lay in a bed and, have no energy to do much of anything.
Honey,
hmm
I need a favor.
Yes. What do you need?
Okay, you're on here.
hmm
You know how I am. Like,
hmm
so were you on earlier when I was talking about the guy
hmm
from Twitter?
hmm
He's in the chat right now,
hmm Hi, guys.
and I feel like I want to address him, but should I address him?
First of all, take a deep breath. Seriously, take a deep
Okay.
breath. Like, one more time. One more time. Now, what do you think? Do you think that he is worth your energy at this point when you're having a very productive show where people are learning about, mental health and the stigmas? Do you think it's a good idea to address a person who, clearly has nothing else, to do but to disturb your peace?
No, he's not
Right.
worth it. Go ahead, honey. I deal with him later. That's right. Let it be. My wife was doing so well, and nobody got time for that. But far as mental health, there's also outside triggers, not just inside triggers. Like I just
hmm
was about to have one, uh, right there, but um, I have a support system. It's
hmm
luckily I had you right on here with me. I had my auntie. She's my hi auntie. She told me it's not worth to focus on my show, which I'm going to do. So with that said, when you feel like before I got my bipolar diagnosis, I told you, I came to you, I said, honey, there's something wrong. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel like something is wrong. Like I need to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And you're always an advocate for if you need to talk to somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to talk to somebody and I did that. And luckily, like you were saying, having a relationship, like I've been seeing the same therapist now for about 6 or more months. So they know me, they build up. Cause there's nothing worse when you feel like, cause sometimes like me, I used to feel like if you go to somebody, of course they're gonna say something wrong. They want your money. They want you to keep
Mm-hmm.
coming.
Yeah.
But since I had a relationship with this person and it was the VA, I mean, what money are they getting? I'm not paying them, it's free.
Yeah.
So, they're not getting paid by the client.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get my diagnosis and be comfortable with it and
Mm-hmm.
be able to accept it. Of course, I got put on more medications and things of that nature, and that goes into my question from Papa Whitelow. He said, "Is there an advantage of taking prescribed medications over traditional therapies for mental illness?" And I want to answer, in my situation, I have to do both. I have to have physical prescription medication, and I have to go to therapy. I have to do both. I can't do one or the other because then I would get off balance. And I could say for me personally, the medicine helps without a shadow of a doubt. It helps me. And you've been there those days where I'll just be so manic that I'll forget to take my medicine. And you being my wife and being a therapist, like the first thing you say, what I'm going to ask you, right? And I'll be like, what? Did you take your medicine? And I'll be like, no. Sometimes I'll just say yeah, because if I say no, you're gonna be like, go take it. So, and and then I'll go take it, and then a couple hours I'll be, I'll come down or whatever the case may be. So with that said, with his question of taking, is there an advantage to taking prescribed medications over traditional therapy for mental illness?
Yeah. So I'm not a psychiatrist, right? So I don't prescribe any medications, but what I can tell you based upon my experience, personally and, with my clients is medication management works, right? But let me explain it from a physical side. So, for example, we have diabetes, right? Diabetes, Princess talked about that a lot as well. If you have diabetes, you need medication. You need medication or
Yep.
you need insulin. One of those two. If you don't have one of those two, you're going to find yourself without a limb. You're going to find yourself in a diabetic coma, or you're going to find yourself dead. It just happens that way. That's diabetes, right? So, in order for diabetes to work well, you need medication, A, and you need to change your diet, right, in order to get your A1C down. So, if the same thing, let's say with bipolar 2 disorder, you need medication, to kind of stabilize your mood so you're not manic all the time or depressed all the time. So you can kind of have the best happy medium as possible. So medication management does work. Now, I will say when people first start taking medication, sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes a person may become nauseous. Sometimes it's just with any medication, there's side effects. So what a lot of doctors usually say is you have to get a medication at least 4 to 6 weeks to work. After that, if it's still not working, they can change your dosage, they can change the medication or whatever the case is, but you have to give it an opportunity to work. Don't take it one day and be like, oh, it don't work. I don't need this. That's not how it works. You have to, give it a chance the same way you would with diabetes. And so, and going back to the diabetes, if you don't eat right, then what's the point of really taking the medication? Is kind of counterproductive. So that's why you need both, right? With diabetes, medication management as well as weight loss management. A lot of times to help, especially with diabetes too. So with bipolar disorder too, you also need to have a therapist. That way they can talk to you about what are your triggers. Are you sleeping well? Are you eating good? Are you like what are some things you're incorporating in your morning routine? What does your evening routine looks like? Are you protecting your peace? Like you need to have that person to talk to you about those things that's going on. If there is a trigger, like let's say if it's a person, if it's a memory, if it's um, you know, if it's your job, then they're going to teach you ways to kind of deal and cope with those things. No, it's not going to eliminate that problem, but at least you'll know how to deal with it and move forward. And also, it's important that your family members are educated about the mental health disorder, because, or the mental illness. That way, they'll know how to help you as well. So they recognize the signs. Like all of a sudden, you're like, okay, I'm going to go out and buy a $70,000 truck, when, as you described, for instance, maybe that person only makes $50,000 a year. It just doesn't make sense. So you want that family member to recognize those signs so that they can, help protect you as well. Or, if they noticing that, you're in a bed a whole lot, you're not eating, that way they can kind of, know what to recognize there. Or if there's suicidal thoughts or ideations, they know how to help you there. And it's important to have a crisis plan too. If you do have a history of suicidal ideations, or you've acted out in those, that way somebody will be aware of what to do if there is any thoughts or actions there. They know who to call and how to best help you in that case. So did I
Hmm.
answer the question? You need both.
Yeah, you did. You said in a roundabout way. You said you need both, and you
Yeah,
managed to throw shade on the dumbass. So I
that's
appreciate
all
that. I
right.
love you
Yeah, I
so
didn't
much.
know
You're so
about
good.
that.
It was
But
so
let me
natural. You
say
did
this.
it too.
Let me
You
say
did
this
all
too.
that.
Just because a person has anxiety doesn't mean that medication they have to be on medication. So that's why it's a good idea to, go to a psychiatrist, go to your primary care doctor, or whatever the case is, so that they always have to do an evaluation first. The evaluation comes first, and then that's when they prescribe the medication. It doesn't happen all at once, because the case may be, they may say, oh, where your symptoms are kind of mild. So keep going to therapy and let me know how that works before they prescribe you medication. A good psychiatrist, shouldn't just automatically just throw medication at you just because. So sometimes you may not need it. Talk therapy can work well. What was I going to say? CBT therapy, DB, it's all types of different therapies out there. Could work well, before going straight to medication. But usually with bipolar disorder, one or two medication most of the time is needed.
Now, Papa has another one, and this is good for me too, because sometimes you have to get on me about this as well. He asks, is
Hmm.
paranoia a result of anxiety, or are they separate issues? Because sometimes you have to tell me too. You be like, I'm your wife. I'm not against you. Like, because sometimes, like, I'll ask you a legit question, and like, I'll get upset, and then you'll be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm not against you. I'm just asking you." Like, if I tell you, like, when I was like, "I want to go back to school for my master's," she was like, "Okay, most people don't. You got one already," and I was legit upset. Like, you don't want me to do it? Oh, you was like, "No, no, no, no. I just because I know you." And sure enough, what happened? What 6 weeks in?
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm like,
you're
I'm
like, oh, what's the
already over
point?
it.
Yeah,
I'm over it. What's the
yeah.
point? I'm done. Like
Hmm.
I don't want to do it anymore. So with that said, paranoia, because it can manifest itself in different ways. For
Hmm.
me, sometimes I'm like the loan people or Ashley Furniture, I'll be like, yo, they like I bet you they knew a long time ago, and you'll be like, but you don't know. Like, let it happen. So
Hmm.
is paranoia a result of anxiety, or are they separate issues?
So paranoia, and so there's a difference between worrying and being paranoid. So uh, anxiety typically, is you're just worrying a lot about things that are just completely out of a person's control. Like if I go outside and get hit by a car, and those are sometimes it feels like realistic fears. But paranoia is something like where a person feels like they're following them all the time, or they feel like if they get on the phone, people are listening to them when that's not the case, or on their work computer, they feel like the man is watching them and things like that. So there's two different issues. So if a person does have a lot of paranoia, they always feel like somebody's watching them. They always feel like somebody's following them. They always feel like there's just this outside source that has never been founded that's out to get them. Then there could be another mental illness that could be present. There's a lot of them, but sometimes a paranoia and hallucinations and all those things, it could be, the beginning signs of schizophrenia. But that's, you that may not be the case. But to answer your question, paranoia is not. Sometimes I guess it can be with anxiety, just that worry. But you just want to make sure it's not a worry where they're always feeling like somebody is following them, watching them, or things like that.
Okay. So mine is more anxiety more than anything that I'm always, because I do sometimes think people be like, out to get me, but I don't think it's an imaginary person. Like, it be
Hmm.
legit people. I'll be like, yo, like, they ain't never liked me anyway. They be like, it's the home furniture guy. He never even met you. Like, why do you think he don't like?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
with that being said, um, if you're having a quote unquote mental breakdown, or you're having some type of issue that you feel like you don't have a good grasp of, name some of the avenues or some of the ways you can reach out
Hmm.
to get help, whether you're employed, not
Hmm.
employed,
Hmm.
in a relationship, outside a relationship. Like, what
Yeah.
what can you do?
Yeah. So the first step is, so I'll start with if you're employed. So if you're employed and you have insurance, doesn't matter the company that you have insurance through, then most of the time it is a little bit easier to find a therapist. So you can go to Psychology Today, and you can literally click all the things that's going on with you. You can click your insurance carrier and you're typing your zip code, and it will list a bunch of therapists that are there. Like, you can type in the gender you want, sexual orientation, all those things. Like, you can narrow it down pretty easily on psychologytoday.com. That's one way that you can find a therapist. And then there's other like ones like therapy for Black girls. Like, obviously, if you're a Black woman and or Black girl and you would like to, find a therapist, who looks like you, there's that one. There's also Open Path, which Open Path, from my understanding, is for people who don't want to use their insurance. So the cost of therapy, I believe, is between $30 and $60.
Oh
Um,
wow.
there's Talkspace, there's BetterHelp. Those are online platforms, and open no, yeah. So Talkspace and BetterHelp is online platforms. So those are like, it's like an app on your phone. They find you a therapist. I think the cost, I don't know if the cost is like $50 or $60, or it could be cheaper than that. But your therapist is going to be online, and sometimes they're not local. I mean, they may live in your state, but it's not someone that you can, go openly see. So if you do happen to have insurance, you can start by looking at Psychology Today, or you can go to your insurance. Like, let's say, for example, you have Cigna. You go to Cigna.com, click on behavioral health, click on find a therapist, type in your zip code, and it's going to come up with a bunch of therapists who are in network with you. That way, you don't have to worry so much about if you're gonna have to pay more than what your copay would be. So that's if you have insurance. Also, if you have insurance through your employer, you can also use the EAP benefits. EAP benefits typically cover between 5 or 6 sessions free through a therapist, but you have to find a therapist that's in network with that particular insurance plan, or however your employer has that set up. If you don't have insurance, then you can also call. You can go to Psychology Today and find a therapist, and you can click on the sliding scale. That should be an option there, where a sliding scale is basically a therapist will ask you, what is your income? And you tell them, let's say, for instance, you make $30,000 a year. Hopefully, a good therapist would say to you, okay, if you make $30,000 a year, I know you can't afford $80 per session. That seems unreasonable. So they usually base it upon your income. So sometimes some therapists start their sliding scale. I've seen some start as low as $30, $40, $50. And if that therapist isn't willing to work with you, find another one. There's tons of therapists out there that you can try. I mean, that you can find that hopefully will be within your budget. And then the other ones that I listed, Open Path, Talkspace, those are also good. What's another way to find a therapist? I mean, there's other websites out there that I may not even be familiar with, but when you're looking for a therapist, you want to make sure you find one that you see that will be comfortable with you. So, for instance, a lot of people like to find someone that kind of looks like them. That way, they feel like they're relatable. Maybe that may not be the case. Maybe they want someone completely different, and they don't look like them. Maybe they're female and they want a male. Whatever the case is, you can base it upon read the profile too. Make sure you read your therapist's profile, to see that as well. But I know I'm rambling. Did I answer your question?
No, you're fine. I can listen to you ramble all day. Um,
Okay.
so let's talk about the dark side of therapy. And when I say the dark side of
Mhm.
therapy, how people go to, I don't want to say, let's just say it. You go to some people that may not have your best interest. Like some
Mhm.
people go to social media for therapy. I don't know why. Like I can
Mhm.
understand if you say anybody knows a good therapist, then that.
Mhm.
You keep bringing up Psychology Today because that's pretty much a verifiable source. If you're on
Mhm.
Psychology Today, you had to send in your verifications
Mhm.
and they had to be verified, and you're good to go. Now,
Mhm.
what are some of the things to look for in, I don't want to say a bad therapist, but something where it's not right? Like I remember it was a talk show where a guy was giving out advice, and come to find out he went to
Mhm.
like a diploma mill where they're just giving stuff out, and he was like some, I don't know even what kind of therapist he was, but he had been charging people. He'd been on talk shows, and he wasn't qualified to do what he was doing. So,
Mhm.
what are some ways you can make sure you're getting quality
Mhm.
therapy services?
Yeah. So that stuff, grinds my gears when I hear, because I've had that happen to me, and I had someone tell me that recently. Hey, I went, to see a therapist, and the therapist was having sessions at their home, like not like virtual sessions, like client pulls up at their house and having sessions, and I was floored, like, huh, what? That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't, unless you have like some specialized home where there's a separate entrance and all this extra stuff. You should not, and you shouldn't be having anybody coming to your home for therapy. It shouldn't happen. So there are instances where that happens, but you're right. So Psychology Today, you have to turn in all your credentials, and then you'll have a check, kind of like on, I guess, like Instagram or whatever the case. You're verified, and it'll say verified. So that's one of the things that you want to look for when you're on Psychology Today, is that person. Their credentials have been verified. You also want to, look at their license. Like, so for and all license information, you don't have to do that. Hopefully, Psychology Today will verify that for you. But, a person's license information is always public. If they've had any type of disciplinary actions, that's public as well. So, you can look for a therapist. There are different licenses. There's like a LCSW, which is what I am. Sorry. There's oh, they just changed it. It used to be called LPC, but I don't want to disrespect my LPC friends. They have a different credential. I mean, a different name now. And then there's like, it just depends. Like for I have golly, Prince is really distracting me. I have an LCAS license, so that's a licensed clinical addiction specialist, meaning that I specialize in working with people who have addictions with like a substance abuse addiction. So if you need a therapist for a substance abuse addiction, you want to find somebody that has experience in working with people with substance abuse disorders. So like if a therapist mainly only deals with mental health and that's their only experience, hopefully they're not trying to treat people who have alcohol use disorder, cocaine use disorder, or any of those things. Hopefully, so you want to, when you go on Psychology Today, you want to click the issues that you have. That way you'll find somebody that's a good fit. if possible, you want to find somebody that's nearby. That way, I know we're doing a lot of virtual therapy right now, but if you want like a long lasting, therapeutic relationship, you want to have a therapist that's, close by. That way you can have a safe place to go to. Yeah, Princeton wanted me to unlock his phone. But you want to have a safe place to go to. For me, I was only doing virtual sessions, but now I'm doing in person because um, a lot of my clients, they want to come to their safe place. They want to get away from the kids. They don't want their spouse hearing what they're going through. It's just a lot going on, so they want to go to their safe place. So you want to try to find a therapist, hopefully that's nearby you geographically, if possible. And then also, like Prince mentioned, sometimes you may have someone that may call themselves a therapist, but they're not. The reality is they're not. They may have went to school and studied a little bit of psychology, but um, they're not a therapist. But a lot of times therapists accept major insurance. If they don't, I mean, they just don't because they don't want to deal with the insurance. But most of the time, therapists who have been through, the ringer with school, accept, uh, I see me may accept major insurance companies as well. But, just do your research. Don't just pick the first person you see on Psychology Today. Really read their profile, really, see what they're about. Call them because that's what most clients do. Like they'll reach out to me by phone. I'll set up a phone consultation and I'll spend about 15, 20 minutes talking to them to see if they're a good fit. If we realize we're not a good fit, then I'll refer them out to another therapist that I feel like is a better fit for them. So hopefully when you reach out to the therapist, they're not just like, okay, well, just set up an appointment and show up tomorrow. Hopefully they spend some time doing a phone consultation with you to see if you both are a good fit for each other.
And that's very important what you just said at the end, that if you're not a good fit, they're trying to refer you to somebody else. They're not just like,
Hmm.
well, if I can't help you, then screw you, or
Yeah.
whatever. Good luck finding somebody better than
Hmm.
me, so because it is a
Yeah.
fraternity, it is a sisterhood. So
Hmm.
with that said, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I know you got to get ready for our Instacart order that should be arriving pretty
Oh, it
soon.
arrived before I got on.
Oh, it's
Christmas already
already
had
in.
his Doritos. Yeah. Why do you think he hasn't
Oh, that's
bothered
why
me?
he was quiet. He was eating
Yeah,
Doritos.
he's
The
eating
Dorito
Doritos.
Ninja.
Hmm.
The Dorito Ninja. But thank
Yeah.
you for coming on, my love, my
Thank you so
everything.
much for having me. There's so
Um,
much more to learn about mental health, and I want to say this. If you have any questions, anything I didn't answer, if you need more clarification, feel free to message me, and I can try to point you in the right
whoa,
direction. Don't
what?
pay Prince any attention.
What?
Um, anyway, so
Messaging
listen,
my
I want to
woman?
say this though. This is important though because this happens to me a lot. And no offense to anyone that has reached out to me. If I know you personally, like meaning we're Facebook friends, I can't be your therapist. It's against my code of conduct. I just can't. So, but that doesn't mean that you can't reach out to me and I won't find you somebody that is in your area. So feel free to reach out to me and I'll help you find someone. But if we know each other personally, like we're cousins, we're friends, we're Facebook friends, that means we know each other personally, or Instagram, whatever the case is, I can't be your therapist, but I can definitely help you find
So
someone that's a
you
good
can't
fit.
be Cardi B therapist? You
No,
follow her.
oh no, I love Cardi B. And also a therapist, is licensed by state. So I'm in North Carolina. If you're in South Carolina, I'm not licensed there yet. It's coming, but not there yet. So a therapist needs to only see the, people within the state that they're licensed in.
So with that said, tell everybody where they can find you, your business, everything. Give out, girl. Listen, give out your credentials.
So I was gonna make a business Instagram, but I know that would be too much for me to keep up with. So I am on Instagram at Tyeekia, my first name Tyeekia. On Facebook, Tyeekia Blue. My website is essentialwellnesscounseling.com. That's where you can find me. On my website, there's a chat feature on the website where you can, click the bubble and it will reach out to me instantly. If you have any questions or concerns, as I mentioned before, you can send me a message and I'll try to help you, find a therapist. And unfortunately, yeah, I can't be your therapist, but I know a lot of great people in South Carolina and North Carolina, and even not in those states, so we can look and find some good therapists for you all.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us. That was very informative. Thank you for being here, for not letting me snap on a old dude. But you know I'm gonna get him because I'm
yeah,
petty. You
yeah.
know I can't
Oh,
let it
let me
go.
say this. I forgot this. I don't know if I said this already, but this is another thing I always say. And this is to my people. It's okay to have Jesus, right? I love Jesus, obviously. It's okay to have Jesus and a therapist as
What?
well. It's okay to have Jesus and a therapist as well. So you just because you're a Christian doesn't mean that seeing a therapist means that you have less faith in God. So just make sure, and also if you see a therapist, make if you want a therapist that's Christian based, click that too on
You
Psychology
can get
Today because that's
everything. If you want like a
yeah.
midget therapist,
If
just
you
type
want
in
to
midget.
do whatever you want, there should be an option to click there because some therapists like me, I'm very objective. Like if someone comes to me and they tell me they're Wiccan, they worship the devil, whatever the case is, I'm
What?
still going to be their therapist. I'm not going to turn them down just because of that's what they believe in. That's not who I am. So,
Yeah,
you
I got
just have to, yeah, that's that. So if you want a Christian
what,
therapist or whatever the case is, click click on Psychology Today and you can find whatever you want. But okay,
bro.
anyway.
We gonna deal with it. Honey, send me your info real quick so I can add it to the comments because people want your info in the comments, your contact info and stuff like that. Send that to me. So while she's getting that prepared, I have something for y'all right now because she's been waiting patiently. I don't. Everybody wants to be a star. Come on, sweetheart. She told me she's been good all week. She wants me to give her 30 seconds to explain her toy. So while her mom's getting that together, she's gonna go ahead and explain. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's your time. Go ahead. They can't hear you.
This toy punch, and then this toy,
Go ahead.
this toy punches, and this button can make it punch. This button can make it punch, and this toy is a button can make it fly, and you can connect it together.
Okay. Okay. Get out of here. All right.
Did it work?
Okay, people. Okay, people. So that was my daughter. I don't know if you heard a lot of it, but she wanted to get her little toy thing out. So it was all good. But my wife, she did you send me the information?
I thought I sent it to you in this chat. Where do I need to send it? In your text?
No, you'll have. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I got it, y'all.
Okay.
Haha. um, I got it right here. Booyah. That's her website. Oh, I'm sending it to the wrong people. I'm sending it back to you. That's her website. Essentialwellnesscounseling.org. And her name on IG is at Tyeekia. You can't is right. Um, so with that being said, thank you, honey. I appreciate it. I'll be
Thank
downstairs.
you.
My Red Lobster. Um, I love you. Thank
I love
you.
you more. Okay.
Talk to the
I'm
people.
gonna eat.
All right, go ahead and eat. Get out of here. She's gone. Now it's petty time. Now, okay, we no, but for real, before I get into my petty rant, I hope y'all got something from what my wife was trying to tell you. Like I said, she's a brilliant therapist, and I'm not just saying that because she's my wife. She's very good. She wants to help people. She has a helping spirit. If she can't help you or she can't work with you, I promise you she'll find somebody that can work with you. So just get in contact with her, please. Get in contact with me and I'll push you to her. This is not trying to sell her anything. Y'all know me. I don't do this for money. I do this because I want to reach out to y'all. And this is therapeutic for me. And this show is more for y'all for anything. It's for I just want everybody to get better. I want people to have a chance. So, because I know, like I told y'all, I just broke it to y'all. I have major depressive disorder. I also have bipolar 2 disorder. So I'm dealing with my own thing. So I'm not telling y'all to do something that I'm not going through. I seek help. I seek therapy. I take medication. I cope. I do what I have to do. I have my good days. I have my bad days. I have my bad weeks. At times I had a bad month, but I get help and I have a great support system. I have a great family. So and if you need to talk to me about anything, I promise you, y'all know I used to be a cop. So if you don't want something to get out or you don't need it to get out, and I'm not a therapist, but I could tell you how I cope, and I could just be a listening ear and just, I'm a positive person to tell you guys that you can do anything. So with that said, it's petty time. So my brother, Black, aka Yusef, he said, "Wait, what? Who's messing with my little bro? Do I need to pull up what I missed?" No, 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 bro. No, 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 no. Trust, trust your little brother. If I need help, I'll come to you. This is small potatoes. Pretty much got a guy who, he just hates for some reason. But like I told him before, when he hates, that's delicious. It's like cake. And you know what cake is to a fat diabetic? It tastes good. So when he hating and then he comes in my chat too, he comes on my show. Oh man, I'm just eating that up like chocolate molten lava cake. Like the cake where you cut it in the middle and then the chocolate just oozes out the cake. That's his hate. It's like delicious. It's like, give me more cake. I love cake. So I hope that you have fun in your Kia Stinger. And I hope that Kia Stinger has spikes on the seat. So when you sit down, it pokes you in your dumb ass. How about that? Get that. Poke you right in your dumb ass. Thank you for showing up. Guess what you just did? You contributed to being a viewer, dummy. Thank you. I'll take it. But oh, hey Stace. Stacy has joined me. Stacy Lyons, if y'all don't know, is Stacy Lyons and it's Tracy Lyons, twins. Went to high school with them. I kid you not. Two of the most sweetest back then young women that I have ever met. Like they were twins. Like no, I ain't talking that fake like where one is like black and then one is white. No, 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 no. These were identical, like nothing separates them apart. But I always can separate them apart. But nobody else can. But she's always been a big supporter of me, even helped me with my homework a few times. So she's doing big things, man. Like, say, don't let me mess it up. Captain, right? Which one? Because I know y'all doing something like doctors, lawyers, something. Y'all just always been super smart. Y'all doing a lot. Let me know in the comments so I could get it right. But anyway, Stacy said this was so eye-opening. The last two relationships I was in, they suffered from mental health issues. I loved them both, but both pushed me away. It's so refreshing to see you dealing with your mental health and still thriving and loving with a healthy, loving family. There are both things both of the men I was with didn't think they were deserving of. I wish they both could see this. Yes. Okay, here we go. Tracy is the captain in the army. Man, listen, man. I don't think you understand. Captain in the army means they're doctors. Okay? Doctors. Okay? Just to let y'all know that. But Tracy, I hate that you went through that, but as you know, as I know, as any good man knows, a good woman knows, when something is right for you, it will be right on time, and you are deserving of everything good that comes your way. And If that was the case with those two people, I don't know them from Adam and Eve, but I can just say from the outside looking in, uh, they I hope that they get the help that they need. And when you're dealing with somebody in a relationship with mental health issues, as myself, my wife could tell you, she already got off that. It's hard. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy. You think it's easy when I tell my wife I want to be a guitarist, a famous guitarist, or I tell her I want to be a sports agent, and then the next day or the next week or whatever it is, the next time I'm like, she's like, "Hey, did you do your homework?" I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's stupid. I'm not doing my homework. These are the things you don't understand, and it like snowballs because you get punished and you do all this, and then you get depressed, you get in your feelings, you get in your mood, and you don't want to do something, and then the wife, I don't want to say is frustrated, but she's trying to figure out what's wrong because she got to fix it on multiple levels. Um, but like I said, I've been thankful and I've been blessed. I had a great support system and I was never afraid to get help. So even through the military and as a police officer, I always got help. With the police department, you got 6 free EAP sessions a year. I used them all. Every single year I used them. And then I paid out my own pocket. A lot of people don't know the same way you could go get eyeglasses, braces, whatever it is, right underneath it's mental too. Mental health specialist. It shows the copay right there. Sometimes, like my wife said, there's many avenues where if you don't want to go through insurance, you could pay out your own pocket. Or there's free services. I went to a lot of free services. I went to local churches where they were doing counselors, where they were having counselor sessions. It would be group, but I'll be in there. It's a lot of ways to get help. I don't want nobody in there to be by the wayside because they think that they're not important or their problems aren't important. No matter how small, no matter how big, like your problems, it may not ignore people who say, "Oh, that's not a big deal." They don't know, or they may be just ignorant. But you know that something's wrong, so go get help. It's people out there that'll help you no matter what the problem is. It's specialists for everything. So, with that said, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope everybody has blessed evening, a rest of the week. Like I said, Blue Manor is coming up on Wednesday. I can't wait. Such a blessing. I'm so excited. Thank y'all for the continued support. Without any support, I can't do this. There's big things coming on the way. Stuff that I can't announce yet because you got to go through people, whatever. They got to make sure everything's good before they announce it. But it's big thing coming for Real Time with Prince Blue. It's gonna get. I just can't. I'm not even gonna go into it. But just stay tuned. But if you need to see this again or see it again, it'll be on stream on Facebook, Twitter, wherever it is, Periscope. But if you need to hear it again, please subscribe to my podcast, my show. I will put the link in the comment box. And if you need anything or if you want to subscribe to it, please please check it out. I'm about to add it right here. This is my link. It shows it tells you where you can find my podcast, all the platforms I'm on. Um please subscribe and listen in your car, listen if you're at work. I'm trying to make it fun. As always, Bob Ross says there are no mistakes, just happy little accidents. That includes you, whatever it is that you're going through. Okay? So, with that said, I'm out. Have a good night. Good luck, LeBron. You're still not the GOAT. Ha ha. Everybody, be safe. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Bye. Hey, what are you doing?